Welcome to the Star Movie Recap channel. Today, we are going to recap Bourne Ultimatum. The film starts with a guy in Moscow. He's injured, and the police chase him into the train station and begin searching the carts. He waits until the train is moving, then jumps off at the police sight him and continue the chase. Luckily, he makes it into a pharmacy and begins patching himself up when he gets some more flashbacks. This time he seems to be in a program and they bag his face. The cops then enter the pharmacy and Jason rapidly incapacitates the first and points his weapon at the subsequent. He then just strolls off, getting away from the police. At the CIA headquarters, director Ezra Kramer gathers a meeting with Pamela and other key personnel. He listens to the recorded conversation involving Abbott, shocked by the deep-seated corruption. Regardless, he perceives Jason as a danger given that he's examining CIA facilities and seems to be searching for something. Kramer asserts that Jason must be located and drops a mad quote: "My number one rule is to hope for the best, plan for the worst." We cut to New York, where a journalist named Simon Ross is meeting a source about a project named Blackbriar. He realizes something exceptionally off base is occurring and is attempting to sort everything out. Somewhere else, Jason is sitting alone when Martin Kreutz enters his home. He is Marie's brother, and Jason gives him the bad news that she is dead. He also tells him that he killed the attacker. While in the airport, Simon makes a call to a fellow worker, revealing that his source is well informed, having information going from Jason Bourne to the Blackbriar program. As can be anticipated, the overseeing authorities aren't pleased upon hearing this, and the call is swiftly marked and then transmitted from one CIA station to another, eventually landing in front of Deputy Director Noah Vossen. Rallying his team, Vossen announces this situation as an NSA Level 4 operation and demands to identify the informant inside their positions. He demands on staying updated on Simon Ross's every move. Even before he makes it, Ross successfully garners Bourne's attention when Jason sees his name as well as Marie's in the newspaper. The Guardian journalist seems to have accurate information, prompting Jason to determine the source of these leaks. Unbeknownst to Simon, as he walks around his workplace, his every action is meticulously monitored by the CIA from a distance. When a colleague mentions that someone on her phone wishes to speak with him, Simon replies to find Jason on the other end. This conversation is hidden from the CIA as it's not Simon's phone, and Jason takes advantage of this to set up a meeting at the station inn. Half an hour after leaving the building, Simon discusses directions with his cab driver, a discussion the CIA picks up. In response, they unleash the asset, what appears to be an agent from Blackbriar. Simon arrives at the station and proceeds to the designated platform. Jason, though keeping an eye on Simon, also recognizes the reconnaissance groups around. He walks past Simon, casually slipping a phone into his pocket and dialing the number of the inserted phone. Jason alerts Simon to the surveillance and instructs him to move to the bus station located 50 meters away with no capacity to listen in. On the phone discussion, the CIA team starts to overreact. Guided by Jason, Simon moves to stand beside a hooded man. He teaches Simon to make a break for some hidden stairs as soon as a boss arrives. As the bus pulls up, the CIA agents rush forward, but one spots Simon walking off and gives chase. This agent, however, is met with a swift beating from Jason. Meanwhile, the hooded man is suddenly incapacitated and injected with an unknown substance. Jason then guides Simon to the city's busiest terminal. As Noah rallies his forces to locate Simon, their asset Paz shows up on the scene. During a short discussion with Simon, he reveals that Blackbriar is an upgraded version of Treadstone and that all their problems started with Jason. Simon is reluctant to reveal his source, however they have very little time and need to continue moving. After coming to the terminal, the CIA gets to the camera feed as they continue looking for Simon. Jason's guide says each transition to keep away from the location. However, Simon panics when he crosses paths with a garbage man and makes a run for it, immediately drawing the attention of the CIA. As agents close in on Simon, Jason stealthily incapacitates them. He advises Simon to take cover in a store and manages to catch up just in time, expertly neutralizing the attacker. As 4 other men jump in to help, they all also get beat up without Jason getting touched. Stunned, Simon can only stand there in disbelief. However, their moment of relief is short-lived as a camera captures them together. Noah is visibly shaken when he understands that Jason Bourne is supporting Simon, their last hope. Paz maneuvers his way towards the team, setting up his sniper vantage point overlooking the terminal. Receiving facial imagery confirmation from the CIA, kills the terminal cameras to allow Paz a clear shot. Despite Jason's stern warning, Simon disobeys and impulsively runs off, resulting in him being shot right in the head. Reacting swiftly, Jason rips the papers from Simon's jacket and bolts, moving too quickly for Paz to land a clean shot. Bourne, never one to shy away from danger, decides to pursue the sniper. However, he just misses Paz, though not before they lock eyes, acknowledging each other in a silent Exchange later, Jason retreats to an internet cafe where he pores over his notes. Two phrases stand apart unmistakably. 3. Blackbriar. And it all started with Jason Bourne. Captivated, he looked up a couple of names that Simon had written in his notes, which lead him to an investment banking group. Noting the address, he decides to investigate further. In another part of town, Simon's informant is thrown into panic upon hearing about the reporter's untimely demise. He frantically gathers top-secret files including documents on Blackbriar. He hastily drives off into the night. Ezra, less than thrilled, has been compelled by higher-ups to include Pamela Landy in the burgeoning crisis. Reluctantly, he convey the news to her and she agrees to join forces. On arrival at the office, Pamela delivers a stern lecture to the team, asserting that Bourne will prove to be their most formidable target to date. Meanwhile, Jason arrives at the headquarters of the investment banking group, but there is no response as police sirens draw closer. He quickly leaves the scene. Pamela is right at home as she employs an unorthodox method to identify the leak in their agency. The criteria: anyone with clearance whose phone was switched off 3 hours before the train station incident. Free names emerge, and combined with evidence found in Simon's home, they deduce that their leak is none other than Neil Daniels, whose base of operations is in Italy, precisely aligning with Simon's flight pattern. However, Jason is already one step ahead and penetrates the building. Meanwhile, the CIA agents are 3 minutes out and Bourne experiences intense flashbacks. In one, a man examines him about his status to join the program, and when he declines, the man subjects him to torture. Snapping back to the present, Jason spots the approaching CIA team and gears up for a confrontation. As they enter the building and take note of the disarray, they move cautiously towards the last door. Without warning, Jason jump starts out, killing the 2 gatecrashers with quick accuracy. Unexpectedly, Nikki jumps all of a sudden and Jason holds a gun at her. The ring of a phone interferes with the silence and Nikki answers it. Noah is on the line. She informs him that 2 agents are down but lie about being the sole individual in the vicinity. Despite her misdirection, Noah is sure that Jason is there and assures her that backup will arrive within the hour. However, they're only 3 minutes away. Finishing the call, Nikki lets Jason know that her vehicle is left at the back and she realizes Daniel's area. Thinking on his feet, Jason dials the local police, reports armed men in the street and discharges a few bullets for impact. As they make their exit, the CIA team barrels in, only to be met with local police who draw their guns, mistaking them for lawbreakers. This disarray furnishes Jason with the ideal chance to get away inconspicuously. Later, the recent commotion, Pamela holds a discussion with Noah, who proceeds to elaborate on Operation Blackbriar. Noah states that Daniels regulated all tasks in Southern Europe and North Africa. In this way, he is conscious of all the essential details: names, intelligence, and other classified information. Meanwhile, in a cafeteria, Jason and Nikki engage in a conversation. Jason points to a photograph and inquires about the man pictured alongside Daniels. Nikki claims to have no information on the man except that Jason remembers him from his initial days in the program. Accordingly, Nikki unveils the upsetting truth: the program would break down the troopers mentally before directing behavior modifications. Jason, as it turns out, was the first subject to undergo this extreme transformation at the CIA headquarters. They've successfully tracked down Daniels. Everyone is prepared as they instruct an operative to eliminate him. Nikki tries to access the location data, but she's blocked and can only retrieve an image in the name of the operative. Plans to tail him to Daniels and they successfully spot him. Jason starts tailing Dash through the city streets. When the CIA identifies Nikki's breach, Noah instructs Dash to eliminate Nikki and Jason. After dealing with Daniels, Pamela disagrees with this decision, but Noah disregards her objection, prompting her to leave. Jason tails Dashes to a stop and notices him leaving a bag next to a car. As Daniels' car approaches, Jason intercepts it, only to realize too late that the bike Dash left was a bomb. The blast kills Daniels and thumps Jason oblivious. As Jason regains consciousness, he sees Dash driving away and starts pursuing him. He commandeers a motorbike, evading the police. As they chase him, he navigates the city streets, pulling off stunts that would impress even the likes of Tom Cruise. Despite the heavy police presence, none come close to capturing him. Meanwhile, Nikki has been spotted by Dash. She weaves through a dense crowd, slowing him down before breaking into a run. Jason spots Dash from afar and starts pursuing him across rooftops. Knowing that Nikki is in danger, Nikki enters a building and tries to remain silent. Jason continues his rooftop chase, crashing through apartments to keep up as Nikki finds herself cornered by Dash. Jason bursts through a window, initiating a fierce brawl between them. The showdown is between 2 well-trained operatives, one from Treadstone and the other from Blackbriar. The fight lasts several minutes with both combatants evenly matched and deployed advanced fighting techniques. Eventually, Jason gets the upper hand by utilizing fighting moves that could have been taught by Khabib himself. Jason and Nikki figured out how to trick Noah into accepting they've been killed by The assassin Desh. Despite this, no one insists on seeing their bodies for confirmation. Meanwhile, Ezra has a conversation with Noah, emphasizing that he won't take the fall if the circumstance turns out badly, which is exactly why he's brought Pamela into the picture. In a moment of introspection, Jason confesses to Nikki that he remembers all the people he has killed, expressing a deep remorse that words can't adequately convey. At the same time, Pamela goes through the Treadstone files, coming across information about all of Jason's assassinations. She also uncovers the name of the operations chief medical officer, Albert Hirsch. After their conversation, Jason leaves Nikki at a station and heads to the morgue to inspect Daniel's personal effects. He finds an address for a CIA base and chooses to explore further. Back at CIA base camp, the disrupting news that Jason is alive arrives at Noah. Simultaneously, one of Pamela's representatives uncovers a visa of Jason's being utilized as of late. Pamela has decided to keep this information to herself, reveals she has her plan in motion. Bourne arrives in New York, takes a cab and positions himself in a building directly across from the CIA building. Through his binoculars, he observes Pamela and Noah. He also notices Noah hiding some files in a safe. With audacity, Jason calls Pamela directly, thanks him for the earlier provided recording, and tells him his true name and date of birth. Noah and his team monitoring Pamela's phone become aware of the conversation. Noah quickly senses that something is out of order. As Pamela talks with Jason, he notices that she looks drained, making Noah's alarm race into the activity room. He announces that Bourne is within a 1,000-yard radius of the building, triggering a national emergency. Pamela steps out and gets a message with a specific location, which is intercepted by Noah's team. The operative receives instructions to arm himself and prepare for action. As no one is team mobilized, he orders that anyone not watching out for Pamela ought to assemble at the uncovered area. Bourne just strolls into the CIA Central Command. He calls Noah, insults him, uncovering his ongoing area. In a split second, he airs out the safe and recovers the covered up files. He glimpses at some sensitive information, but pressed for time, he commences his escape as the agents rush back to their vehicles. When Noah's man confirms that his office has been breached and the safe is open, Noah descends into panic. Pamela gets into a car with her operative, providing him with directions. Meanwhile, Jason walks casually down the street until he is spotted by agents. Given the authorization to shoot on sight, Jason bolts, eventually making it to a rooftop car park. He swiftly commandeers a car, colliding with others, thus taking down the agents, using them as cover with his car in reverse and under fire. Jason daringly drives off the building, landing in another car park beneath. He rushes to a lower level, finding Paws ready to pounce for a showdown. A fierce shootout ensues and Jason commandeers a police vehicle, launching it into the throbbing street below. Meanwhile, an operative picks up on the anomaly in the date of birth Pamela provided Jason, sparking suspicion of it being coded information. Noah, when alerted, discerns the hidden clue that points to their training facilities location. He orders all ground units to trail his vehicle, with the police sirens of his stolen vehicle splitting the air. Jason barrels through the city streets. He quickly neutralizes his pursuers in a display of swift action, using his commandeered police vehicle as a bulldozer. He clears the road of enemy cars, yet Paws relentlessly follow him. Represents a serious test, drawing motivation from Jason's past experience with Kirill. Paws endeavors a similar tactic, which disastrously backfires, resulting in both cars flipping and crashing. Jason emerges from the wreckage, gun trained on Paws, but ultimately decides to spare him. Noah in a flurry calls Albert, advises him to evacuate the facility. Albert, however, refuses, vowing to hold off Jason until Noah's arrival. As Jason approaches the facility, memories of the building rush back to him. Outside, he encounters Pamela, whom he entrusts the bag full of sensitive files. Believing in her sense of justice, Pamela urges him to join her, but he answers, "This is where it began for me, this is where it closes." As Jason heads into the structure of the fleet of CIA vehicles, screeches to a halt outside, causing Pamela to hastily retreat inside. She ducks into an office and makes a crucial call as Noah and his agents storm the building. Jason engaged the emergency lock on the elevator, barring any following him. Consequently, the agents take to the stairs in a frenzied rush, while Pamela sends the classified documents via fax. Unexpectedly and enraged and very much alive, Paws also bursts into the building. Noah eventually finds Pamela just as the last page of the documents gets transmitted. He stares at her, and in return she simply advises him to find a good lawyer. Jason reaches a corridor where his mind is filled with sharp, clear flashbacks of the place. Suddenly Albert emerges from the shadows. Jason, seething, demands to know why he was selected for the program. To his shock, Albert reveals that Jason had volunteered. He hands Jason a set of dog tags bearing his name. Memories flood back of him accepting the new name and agreeing to do whatever was asked of him. He also recalls pledging to do anything it takes to save American lives. For a moment Albert's influences appear to hold. Influence. Jason stands executes a masked man in the corner, and from that moment he became Jason Bourne. As he lowers his weapon he hears footsteps approaching and leaps out the window. He races through the stairwell. With a pause in pursuit he finds himself on the rooftop. Cornered, Pause raises his gun at Jason, but then unexpectedly he speaks. He asks Jason why he hadn't shot him. Jason countered, questioning Pause if he even knew why he was supposed to kill him. Just as the CIA agents including No arrive on the scene, Jason leaps off the building, a bullet grazing him as he plunges into the water below. The scene shifts to a conference where senators are presented with the contents of the documents by Pamela. Nikki watches a news broadcast revealing that Ezra Kramer is under criminal investigation. Dr. Albert and Deputy Director Noah Vossen is arrested. There's no trace of Jason despite 3 days of searching. Nikki smiles faintly as we see Jason swimming away, very much alive.
We hope you enjoyed watching. Please hit the like button and share with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more awesome content like this. Until next time, take care and we'll see you in the next video.